Okay, welcome to episode 2 of the Slowdown. Today I have a very special guest to me, my lovely sister Josephine Kiaga, who we're going to start off talking about some things and then allow ourselves to lead off to another. But that's totally fine because we're here to slow down and here to unwind and just here to talk and here to listen. Josephine, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Josephine. I'm 18. I live in Manchester, and I go to university for film. And I'm Joe's sister.
Can I ask you a very serious question, and one I'm sure you struggle with often, but I think it's one that that our viewers need to hear.
Why do I feel like this is going to be rude? Okay, go on.
So, how long did it take you to get your British accent, and why do you hide it?
I don't have a British accent. Leave me alone.
No, because there are reports coming in that you only use this fake accent because you're ashamed of how I think of you.
You need to calm down with your shade. Where's your accent? Why is your accent different too?
I don't have an accent. I'm literally
Weren't you calling me earlier asking me for a brew?
Do you have any proof of that?
Do you have any proof of my stuff?
I do. When have I ever?
Please present the evidence.
When have I ever?
Present
in your
the
life,
evidence.
when have I ever in your life
Present
said something without evidence? You tell me that.
Present the evidence.
Anyway, I'm not here to go back and forth with a heathen and a miscreant. I'm here for very serious
like coming at me for
discussion.
no reason on this good day.
Every day's a good day. Not this good day. Every day's a blessed day, man.
Slow down. It's slow down.
It's about you gotta slow down and look at you learning. I've raised you so well. I'm so proud. Do you know that though? On a serious side, I'm so proud of you. Like you are doing so well in life.
Is it?
I want you to know that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I mean, I will edit that out. I'm gonna cut that out because I need people to know that I'm not some wholesome older sibling that loves like my little sibling to death. Like I fucking hate you.
Yeah, you wouldn't want anyone to think that. That's horrible.
Jesus Christ. Let alone for like a woman. I'm not simple.
A woman?
Oh my god.
A woman?
Oh my god.
My goodness.
Oh
we don't have simps in our family, okay?
Actually, you know what? Let's I think that could be an interesting topic. What is your view on like 90% of, I wouldn't just say sibling relationships, like brother-sister relationships, and like how toxic they can be, and like how much does that suck?
I can't really speak on anything that I've never experienced. So I don't know. I feel like I have
What do you mean? I'm toxic as shit, man. Don't make me lose my street cred, dude.
I have a good relationship with my sibling. Not you. I'm talking about my brother.
Right.
I have a good relationship with my brother. We're pretty close, so I can't speak on that, but I can't imagine how that feels.
Okay, I'll speak up then, right? Because I listen and observe. Which might be hard to do for someone like you that's so used to British accents. I mean, it might be hard to understand me right now.
I just need you to leave me alone. I'm gonna just need you to back off, man. Okay?
Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Goodness. I'm sorry, love. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I didn't even mean to step on your crumpet like that. You know what I mean?
Step on your Yeah, man,
that's the thing, right? That's definitely something people in England say like every other day.
All the roadmen are like, bro, didn't mean to step on your crumpet, man.
Explain to me the term roadman. I mean, do they lie on roads? Is it that?
Listen. I'm not a cultured person. I don't know anything. I'm confused.
What has been your experience as a Tanzanian in the UK, and what advice would you give to people that are coming to like live in Manchester for the first time, for example?
Honestly, I wouldn't advise anyone because I don't think I spent my time well enough to know the area, and I don't think I'm a good representation of Tanzanians, but I can tell you just as an individual coming to live here, I live in Salford, not Manchester, so it's like a little bit by Manchester, like the bus into Manchester is like 15 minutes, but it is a little bit on the outskirts. So it's a little bit less diverse, if you know what I'm trying to hint at, over in these parts. That's something that I was very surprised at the first time. It's definitely like something that takes adjusting to because obviously because of the lack of diversity, when you walk around, people are kind of going to look at you like, a circus freak. Like, oh, what are you doing here? Like, I get a lot of those looks in the morning. I've come to peace with it in a way that, like, I'm kind of like, it doesn't really matter and it shouldn't really affect my day, but it's definitely something I had to get used to. So if I could give you any advice, it's just to prepare yourself mentally and just make sure you actually research the area that you're going to, because, like, my university is, like, Salford, right by Manchester. Before I came here, I didn't know the difference. And it definitely would have been well worth talking to somebody about diversity. I probably would have gone to a different uni, to be honest.
What are some phrases you think someone should, like, try and understand before they come and live in the UK? Apart from stepping
phrases.
On the trumpet. Yeah. Like,
oh my gosh, this is genuinely a difficult question. I mean, as long as you know how to speak English, I feel like you'll be okay. I think it's less phrases, it's accents. Mm-hmm. It's like you should prepare yourself. If you're going to come to Manchester, you should hear what a Mancunian accent sounds like. I'm not going to do an imitation, don't ask me. But you should listen to what a Mancunian accent sounds like, because when I first heard it, I literally could not understand what people were saying, like in the grocery store. Like, maybe like, do you want bags? And I wouldn't hear anything. I'd be like, huh? So that took me a while to adjust to. It was really weird. It's kind of intimidating because British people also speak very fast. Like, they'll be like, and you're like, what? So if you can't space those words out and you don't get used to the accents, it's very confusing. So if there's anything you should learn, it's how to listen to people's accents.
Do people have a hard time understanding you? When you're not putting on your fake accent, of course.
I don't have a fake accent.
The one you're using right now, I mean.
Thinks I'm American. I don't think anyone thinks it's difficult for me to speak. I think sometimes I slip off and I say some Swahili things, and then people go like, what did you say? And I'm like, oh, sorry, my bad. Or they'll ask me like, what's that? Like, I don't know, there's some terms that are just so into my speech pattern that I can't really remove it, even if I know I'm speaking to people who don't understand. Like, I'll be like, Kwani, what's that? And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, I mean, what's that? Ignore the first part. You know, like, it'll just slip out of my mouth. I don't know why. But, yeah, nobody finds it difficult, I think, to listen to me. I think they find it annoying.
How many people pronounce Tanzania correctly instead of saying Tanzania? Because that's something I've hated hearing here in South Africa. It's ridiculously annoying.
Well, the thing is, usually out of my mouth is the first time they've even heard the word Tanzania, so I'll just say it the way I say it.
Oh, okay.
You know, like if I'm like, oh, I'm from Tanzania, they'll be like, oh, Tanzania, you know, they'll just repeat it. So I don't really get Tanzania.
Thank goodness. Okay, are you ready for like a deep philosophical
Yeah, it's very
question
annoying.
that I want you to expound upon as much as possible?
Okay, I feel this is very one-sided. I feel very like...
Oh, do you want to ask me a question? You want to ask me a question? Because you can.
I would like you to delve a little bit as well. I feel very, like, selfish.
Okay, go ahead. I mean, take over, right? I support you, like, as a woman and, like, as a person. Like, you have a voice, so just go ahead and say what you want to say.
Women are funny.
No, like, I'm not trying to mansplain over you. Like, I want you to know that I'm giving you, like, a room to just go ahead and say what you want to say, like, as a woman. So just go ahead. Because like it's so valued, like your opinion here is like it just matters. It matters so much because like without women in this society, like we wouldn't even be able to like absorb like so many ideas.
Right.
So like you just go ahead and you know.
Yes.
You know what I want to know? I want to know how many people like have already immediately like tuned out and they're like, oh my god, Joe is a asshole. I've just seen his true colors. Sister. I mean, he's awful. He's an awful person. I can't stand him. I don't know why we give him excuses. In all seriousness, go ahead and ask. Go ahead, man.
I'm gonna ask you to just answer the questions that you asked me, but with South Africa instead. Like, okay, you've moved to Cape Town for a while now. Is there anything that you wish you were told before moving there?
That is wow. Holy shit. That's good. I think you've just changed the whole structure of the podcast. I think I'm gonna invite that to happen more often. It should be a two-way discussion. Holy shit. Things I would say about Cape Town. I think the first lesson and it's the first lesson I think you always learn the hard way when you move to a new place is don't go shopping at the mainstream malls because it's just fucking expensive. If you live in the CBD, like, you know, like Loop Street, Long Street, whatever, take advantage of the African markets. So much cheaper, so much more affordable, and you get to meet people that like understand like what it is to be a foreigner. I've met so many Tanzanians and Kenyans and people from Malawi, and everyone is just so wholesome and so peaceful. Because I really can't stress enough how like different South Africa is from the rest of Africa. Like especially Cape Town, this is basically Europe, and you really don't get it until like you move here. So like finding other people that are foreigners as well, and you go back home and people like understand actual Africa. Well, okay, I shouldn't say actual Africa, but like I think have more exposure to different cultures.
The more developing parts of Africa.
Yeah, because like some people here, like they like I tell them, oh my gosh, like I love like jollof rice, and like what is jollof? And I'm like, what? And the other day I got my feelings so hurt. I'm like, hey guys, you want to go get some food? And then they're like, cool, okay, cool. I know this is a nice Nigerian place. We can go get some plantain and jollof. And they're like, what's plantain? What's plantain? And I was like, oh no. But Josephine, it was so funny. We went there and we ate, and I gave them plantain or with jollof right there, and their lives changed. So like I would love.
I can't imagine like eating plantain for the first time. Like I wish I could go back. I wish I could unknow it, so I could fall in love again.
They're like, you can fry bananas, and I'm like, yo.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, guys.
What?
And they were looking at me like, they were like, oh my god. Why would you fry? That thing. Why would you fry bananas? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah. And then now they're eating. They're like, wow.
I don't think your life can never be the same. And that being said, save money. Fuck going to like McDonald's and all that shit. There are so many food places here in Cape Town, at least. Oh my goodness, the amount of like local cuisine here is ridiculous. Whether you're vegan, you love meat, you love Chinese food, you love whatever the hell. There's Tanzanian restaurants here, there's Ethiopian restaurants here. You will find whatever you want if you look for it enough in Cape Town, and it is gonna be made well. I think that's the biggest adjustment I've made, like coming like even from like Dar. It's like Dar has restaurants and stuff, sure. But they're just like, there are those few ones that you trust and you keep going to them, or otherwise you're going Mama Ntilie, and Mama Ntilie, it's not really personalized. Like, you're gonna have good chips wherever you go, and everything's gonna taste nice. But with these,
you can have chips Coco every day.
Exactly. But here's like, oh my gosh, okay, I'll have Chinese food today, and then okay, maybe I'll go Ethiopian. Okay, maybe I'll go Greek. Okay, maybe I feel like having
that
some
sounds like London,
right? Like, what it is? It sounds like what Masaki is trying to do, right? With like salt.
And, oh my gosh, that place is just so wholesome. The food is incredible.
It's because it's American style, man. I mean, Jesus.
When I want my American style food, I like it done well. You know what I mean?
I want my American style food, I
find
people that are like have oily skin, and then I just colonize them. No, that sounds really weird. But I was trying to make.
Wow.
No, that sounds. Oh no, that is very problematic.
Let's unpack that. Let's unpack that for the podcast.
This is why interviewers don't get interviewed.
Joe is a hateful, self-hating black man, and analyze what exactly is wrong here.
You know what, Josephine? This is where I think your career gets formed. You start up a new like fake news, like tabloid fucking agency, and you just expose me like I'm your first victim, and you go viral over this.
Like, drop my film career, just become a journalist.
No, you don't drop your film career. You don't drop your film career. You start up your own news company. But you have to learn how to like take it
further. Or I make like a Tiger King, but like with you.
Oh wow.
So I split it
this
up.
right here, you're recording this for a Netflix series that gets released next year. I don't even know.
Yeah, like this is the pilot tape. I said I'm just gonna send it to Netflix takes everything. I'll send it to Netflix with a note and say I'll make this. And they'll be like, okay. Okay,
like that Rick and Morty episode, like they'll just accept like anything.
Yeah, they just went to Netflix and they're like, hello, and they're like, well, buy it. I love that enthusiasm. But honestly, some of the shows on Netflix, I'm like, yeah, I mean, guys.
You know what, man? I don't hate. Listen, I support anyone who can get their show on Netflix. That must be such a privilege. Like, I couldn't imagine. I would love the honor.
Even if I had a pilot season, for me, I think that would be like one of the heights of my career. It's not like, the height.
That's the thing. Like, even when it comes to like listening to like local artists and stuff, like I'm like, so I'm not even here to like say, oh my god, your mic is terrible. No, dude, like you're on fucking Apple Music. Holy fucking shit, that is amazing and that is beautiful.
Yeah, and good for you. Let me try to support you in that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I think I answered one question. I don't know how far we delved off on that. I mean, that's obviously like our or curse.
That's our thing.
But
Yeah.
it means we're gonna have a
We
really
never talk
good
about one
podcast
thing.
episode. But in that case, please ask me an original question of yours, and I will try to expound.
This
and
is like
then,
us playing like 21 questions.
Is that what it is? Is it not called
Like,
the
but
slowdown
except the
anymore?
existential questions.
It's called 21 existential questions to make you question the purpose of reality and your existence. Just rolls
Catchy,
off the tongue.
name it. Right, we're buying that. Nobody can take the rights. Now let's go make that game.
Actually,
Let's
you know
make
what?
it
You know
happen.
what? Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question that I think we are all dying to hear the answer to? How the hell is your hair so amazing? Like, please.
Oh my goodness.
What is your hair care routine? Please. Because for those of you that don't know, my little sister's afro is actually fantastic, and she needs to learn how to claim her beauty because that hair is ridiculously gorgeous. Not as good as mine, but it's up there.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing. That's the whole point. That's why I was saying my hair is better than yours.
Nothing. That's the whole point, bitch. Did you not hear me when I said it?
But seriously, man, what's your hair care routine, man? I'm trying to grow an afro myself, as you know.
I honestly right now I have not been loving my hair the way it deserves to be loved, but just do the lock method. It's liquid, oil, cream, and sealant. That's what I do.
So you're saying I've mastered the lock method because I have.
You can do lock or locks. It's once you get your, you're gonna eventually get your favorite cream, your favorite oil, your favorite like sealant. My favorite sealant is shea butter. I think it is the best sealant. It smells delicious, especially when it's like raw. I really love the smell of shea butter. Some people think it stinks. I love the smell.
Dude, have you cooked with it? Like I love cooking with it. It's
like especially when you get that raw organic. Like you can cook.
Well, yeah, you can't cook with anything else, can you? I would hate to see someone like take like shea butter.
Auntie Jackie's.
Like I love cooking with shea butter, yo.
Yeah, coconut oil from another. Like Tresemme, just put it inside a pan. My lord.
People are just coming like to class every day, just throwing up.
Have you ever cooked with natural coconut oil? It's been one of my favorite.
Not only do I cook with natural coconut oil, I melt it down. Like right now, I use that for my face. That's all I use for my face, dude. I melt it down really thinly, though. I think the mistake people make with coconut oil is when they use it for their skin, they try to make it like still way too thick, but it needs to melt, yo. You can't use coconut oil for your skin unless it is melted. But once you
then you're like, I literally use like a dollop. Like I put my fingers there.
It just spreads and it doesn't go away.
It's really beautiful. Like just like shea butter, coconut oil. I love those.
Exactly. I just realized like with all these natural products, you just have to melt it. Like you cannot just use it straight out the box. Otherwise, you're wasting it. You got to melt it down, and once you melt it down, it is amazing. I remember like my favorite meal, like to this day, since I've gone vegan, was making spaghetti, but with shea butter like infused in the water as it was boiling, and then I'm adding my spices slowly, like every 5 minutes or so that they really have time to like infuse, and just life-changing, man. Because organic stuff, it just gives you such a different flavor. Like you realize after a while, like
wow, look at you shading all of the UK, shading us.
Oh wow, am I?
With our GMO food, we're like, don't talk about our GMO food.
Well, there's something maybe people should know before they come to England. What is eating like in the UK, man?
I have a lot of qualms with it. I don't consider myself even a person who necessarily was like very healthy, like I only eat salad or something like that. Like I was never that person, but when I came to the UK, I generally started becoming more healthy because the second I started eating that junk food, oh man, my weight changed real quick. Like I was so shocked because I have a high metabolism. I've had one my whole life, so I don't usually gain weight. But when I came to the UK, when I came to the UK, it was really fast. Sorry, what did you say? I didn't hear you.
Did you just call me fat?
I didn't say anything about you.
No, you're like, yeah, but I've always had a high metabolism, so like I don't even know what it's like to like not have unsnatched waist.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I was already gaining weight this summer before I came to university because I was going through some stuff. And then I came here and it became even worse, and I kind of just became a more healthy person. And overall, I feel like with the UK, like the GMO food makes me personally very uncomfortable. I hate the way everything expires here very fast. It makes me feel really like it just makes me feel like life is artificial. Like, it's just so weird to imagine that there's somebody cooking up these vegetables. Like, these vegetables are not real. Like, what the heck am I eating then, you know? So I'm trying to go organic. I know Co-op is one of the grocery stores that I've done some research on, and they try at least their best to keep things like organic, you know, grown, like hand-picked, you know. So I've been eating there lately, and their food really takes a long time to expire, so I feel kind of convinced that. Because, like, if you go to Tesco's, you can buy bread off the shelf that expires in 5 days, like, off the shelf. It's insane, and that's like the longest you can have something, and it's ridiculous. Like, nothing has shelf life. Everything expires in 35 minutes. But I like Co-op because at least it takes like 2 weeks or 3 weeks to expire. Then I'm like, okay, then at least maybe this is a bit more organic than, you know, the other options. So food in the UK, I think the organic option is a little bit better, or at least find like a grocery store that tries to be organic if you're a person who like doesn't, I don't know, eat a lot. Because when I buy like a kg of meat, I'm not going to finish it soon. I'm going to take a while to finish it, so I can't have something that expires in 5 days. I wasted so much money in the beginning of my first year just because of like expiration dates. The amount of like packets of food I just had to toss out. It's embarrassing to even think about. That's something that you should know before you come to the UK. Actually, that nothing here has shelf life.
I was gonna say, like, another thing that I've discovered since going back to being like proper vegan and trying to like avoid animal products. I had bought like a 2-liter tub of milk like 2 weeks ago or so, and it was man, this dairy milk, you know, proper cow milk. It was packaged so well, and they were like, oh yeah, you know, we make sure we take the best care of our cows, and you know, they're all just naturally fed, and they just all so well taken care of. So now I'm taking my time, you know, and I'm drinking this milk, and I'm making my sure, and you know, sometimes, you know, like, I like drinking milk, so I just drink the milk by itself, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, you know, wow, and I felt it like in my belly, and it was just swirling around me, and I understood it. You know, I understood life when I drank this milk, and I realized
one day when this is some good milk.
No, I realized, you know, one day when I was taking out the milk to drink it, just straight out the carton, just because it was finishing, and I looked at the expiry date, and I realized that it had been expired for 8 days, because it expired within 3 days of me buying it, but I never looked at the label. So all those things I was feeling like, oh my God, I was fucking sick. I was fucking sick, and I'm like, oh man, this is life changing.
I am so sorry.
Now the whole point of that story, I mean, I'm not dead. It was fine, but I find it hilarious. But the whole point of the story is something like soy milk. Its best before date is a year from purchase.
And I love that.
Exactly, like dairy milk. If you sit and break that down, we could be here for days, man. That process is like so messed up. You know, like they have to keep these cows constantly pregnant from the time they're basically like teenagers, you know, like a human equivalent of like 13. They're just like constantly injected with these hormones.
Awful.
And like the male babies are immediately, all the babies are pulled away immediately from the mother. There's no time to bond, so they're probably like suffering from things like postpartum depression and whatnot. That's just like forced. Then they have to get pregnant again, the baby's taken away, and then they get pregnant again, the baby's taken away. And it's so much torture, you know, even past that. And it's just for such little milk in the grand scheme of things, in terms of like resources used, like water and manpower and stuff, when you could just be growing some soybeans and making milk out of that, and it tastes like fucking amazing. You got like 1 carton of soy milk, it tastes sweet, you're getting protein, and no animal like had to suffer for it. It just makes so much more sense. And it doesn't expire fast, because you can GMO plant food, but if you're gonna go for like a vegan grocery, they're not gonna do any of that shit, and it just tastes awesome.
Yeah, I definitely think the more natural something is, it just like it changes even the taste, it changes everything. Like the food that I ate from this grocery store, it's just reminded me what real food tastes like. Like I got some avocados that actually they said, like, you know, like you need to make them ripen, which is so nice because most of the avocados here are in quote ripe, and it just can't be ripe for 5 days like consistently when it's just sitting there. Like that just, it feels weird to me because you say that it's ripe, but it's hard on the outside, which means that it wasn't ripe, and they put it in the packaging, and they just kind of estimated the date it would be ripe-ish. And it just feels so unnatural to me because it's like, this thing you're telling me is going to expire in 5 days. Like, you shouldn't know that. I remember in Tanzania, like, we never, ever looked at the dada like, hey, dada, will this expire in 20 days? Like, what the hell? We just buy fruits and veg. You know, like, we just buy fruits and veg, and we just use it as time goes on. There was never a concern of expiration dates and stuff like that. And it really, like, it hit me when I moved here because it was such an abnormal thing for me to be checking. That's why I kept, like, making stupid mistakes because I never, like, when have we bought a packet of Vienna sausages and thought, oh, geez, when do these expire? I mean, those things have stayed in our fridge for for months and months on end, you know? And they've been fine. But here, if you leave your sausages in there, I mean, it expires after 6 days. And you'll smell it. You will smell it. Like, it makes everything feel so different because food is something you're supposed to enjoy. You consume food because your body requires it. And it's something I have to do on a daily basis. And, like, when you take that away from someone, like, that's why I understand why people go vegan and go, like, organic and everything, because I can't imagine having to grow up with this all the time.
As an American, what makes you think that you know anything about eating well?
I don't really consider myself an American, so I can't answer that question. I'm sorry.
What did you choose as your legal status in terms of citizenship?
United States.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
I didn't grow up in the States. You know that. We grew up together.
Then why didn't you choose Tanzania?
It's just because it would be easier for me to get around with an American passport. And I already had one.
Black men, just on the record, you hate black men.
And I already had one to begin with, so I was like, let me just continue with the passport I currently have because I never had a Tanzanian passport anyway.
What are your thoughts on racism?
It's bad. Next question.
If I was an interviewer, that's it. I would just catch people out with this random, like, vague enough question that you can't answer them properly. Like, what do you think of women?
They're cool. Next question.
Oh, did you know you have to be trained to not talk shit? Like, you can say that because you're, like, in a controlled environment. It's a totally different vibe. Like, imagine you're having, like, an interview in front of, like, literally 1,000 people watching you. There's no time to think.
You know, like, and you're telling an anecdote, you're laughing, you're thrown off guard, you know? Yeah, anyway, so what do you think about
that? Like that thing I said earlier, what was it? The American colonizing thing, it's done. It's over. I'm literally, my career finished. Right? Before I make, like, a really, like, great, like, apology.
I think we would have been cancelled a while ago.
That's true. The people will never hear, you know, the terrible things you say.
I?
Yes. Did I stutter?
Excuse me? Are you coming for me, bro?
I'm already here.
Wow. So you think you're like all that, huh? And that you never say anything wrong, huh?
You see, you're a fantastic human being, and you're such an example of black excellence. I'm older and wiser. Of course I'm better.
What kind of, like, sandwich insult? That was, like, the most interesting punch to the face. It was like a punch and then, like, a pat and then, like, a kiss. It was like pop, 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 mwah, bye.
It's like, oh, I love you so much, Jacqueline. Oh,
yeah. Here's the Porsche.
God damn it, woman. You hurt my feelings so much. Why they gotta hurt me like this? Now get out of here. Skedaddle. Take this Porsche.
Take this Porsche and go to your penthouse now. Gosh, dude, I can't stand that woman. I will give you $1 million.
It must have been so crazy growing up and just, like, fantasizing about, like, romantic misogyny. Like, how fucked has that left people? Like, I watch Indian movies sometimes. I'm just like, oh my God, Jesus. The guy's like, I won't rape you tonight, my wife. And she's like, oh. My sweet prince.
My goodness. No, I will say, like, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out in my life if those movies, like, I remember I would joke about, like, things like High School Musical and stuff like that, but I'm still trying to decide whether those things helped me or didn't help me, because I feel like they gave me false expectations for relationships. Why do people still make things like that? Like, I was speaking about Grownish the other day, and obviously no hate to, like, anybody who was on the show or anything, but, like, when I was in high school, I enjoyed Grownish so much because it was such a nice show to watch. And when I came to uni, I stopped liking it, and I absolutely can't stand it. And I realized it's just something about, you know, because I'm in uni now, so I know that the things that happen in Grownish, they ain't happening to me. I'm not meeting some really attractive art major who has a crush on me alongside this really attractive dude who has a crush on me in my house that's like super perfect, and my hair that's also... I have an iPhone X. I'm also really pretty. I have nice clothes. Like, that's not my life, so I can't watch this and feel like I relate to it. I'm like, no. Like, don't... It's your first year... and then one day you just flip and do something and everyone's like, haha, yeah, it's cool. Like, if only life was so arbitrary and so black and white that you could just flip the script when you felt like it suited you. Like, that show for me is just like, I was comparing it to Insecure. I don't know if you've watched Insecure. I think every person should watch Insecure. Every person of color should watch Insecure. Actually, not every person of color, every black person should watch Insecure.
That's kind of
everybody else, it's fine.
That's kind of
but it's because it's written by Issa Rae, it is directed by black people, it is starring black people, it has a variety of things that I think need to be discussed in the society. Even as a person who is African, and I'm not an African American, I can still relate to a lot of the things that they say on the show, and a lot of the discussions, a lot of the mannerisms. I think it's just so important because you can tell, like, one thing I love about that show, and I know, Joe, you love a good, like, you know, a well-written show. And it's an HBO show, and it is going for its, fourth season now? I mean, the show is just so, the dialogue for me is so naturalistic, it's so enticing, it's so easy to watch and digest and not feel like it's blaxploitation, you know? Like, some of the characters are dramatic, and, you know, some people, like, might reflect them to people in blaxploitation films, but there are just some people like that in life, you know, so long as it doesn't feel so over the top. Like, there's something about it that you can just tell that it's somebody who really knows about the culture that's writing this, and not somebody who thinks they know. You know what I mean?
That right there is such a powerful statement. Somebody who knows the culture, but doesn't just think they know. I want that on a shirt.
Patent pending on a shirt.
As someone, you know, actually, please, please be very loud and proud about, you know, your film beginnings and you know what you're trying to do. But just as someone who enjoys film, and you know, it's definitely not my forte. You're much more experienced and knowledgeable about filmmaking. But I love watching films as well and breaking them down. What are some of the things that you, if you could, and just had this unlimited power and unlimited money, what would you maybe change or let me say improve about the film industry in Tanzania?
Wow, that is a tough one. For one, I would, okay, to be honest, I don't know enough about the current film industry. We were having this discussion earlier on. I don't personally, like, I haven't seen as many Bongo Flava films or Tanzanian movies that I like to even really speak on it. But if I can try from somebody who doesn't really watch that many, I would say the thing that has helped me the most is just being educated, honestly. In Braeburn, because I went to Braeburn for sixth form, I did BTech Media. I thought I knew about film, but I didn't know anything at all. I mean, like, I came to university and my mind was blown. I think film theory and film history for me have really been educational. I used to be very close-minded at the idea of watching French Renaissance films or any other genre that I hadn't really heard of, things that are very old and movies that are black and white, etc. But because of classes, forcing me into these situations, I've realized that all these different genres of film, like, they build and they help you understand what type of filmmaker you want to be. So I would say the first thing is, like, education about everything that's going on, so that when we make our own films, that we can have knowledge of all these other things that we could try, Because when you watch the movie, you think you know what the director is trying to say, but at the end of the day, it's only the director who knows. We can make our assumptions, and we can make our conclusions, but at the end of the day, only they know the true intention. Only they know the real person that they were, taking inspiration from. So I think it's just that education, and then I would use the money to start getting equipment. But that's really hard because, the thing is with expensive equipment, it's just that it's really hard to keep track of. But I don't know. I think I would sit down with a council of people that I trusted, and who understood things about like Bongo media and things, and sit down with like a group and just listen to them, and then we would come up with a solution. I think I couldn't speak on that myself, to be honest.
Very well said, very well spoken. Like a true Brit. I would like to ask you...
Is this whole call going to be on the episode? Like, is this how long they are?
I was actually about to say I'm going to ask you our last question, because keep it brief, 25, 40 minutes. Like, this one is going to be about 40.
Okay.
So anyway, last question. And it's a shame that you're in such a rush to leave, but I understand. Older brothers aren't that interesting, so I'm told.
I'm not even... Okay. I didn't even say I wanted to leave. Okay.
Okay. One last serious question, just off the cuff. If it's a very big if. If you could take any single iconic island, place, whatever that you want to visit, and place it somewhere accessible, near Dar es Salaam. If it's an island, it's it's in Budia distance away, something like that. What would you take and put right next to TZ?
Wait, sorry. The question is what small piece of land?
Like if there's anywhere you wanted to visit that you could put somewhere like accessible.
Oh,
to
so
TZ.
that Tanzania could be right next to it.
Yeah. So what would you put right next to TZ? To Dar, for example. Like
but that would ruin it. It wouldn't be the same if it was next to TZ, because then, like if it's something that I'm thinking of, like let's say the Maldives. If Maldives is next to Tanzania, my friend, it wouldn't be the Maldives. It wouldn't. So, like no insult to Tanzania, but excuse me, it would not be the Maldives at all. It would just become something else.
Oh my days. That is a good answer. With that being said, thank you so much for your time, Josephine.
Thank you for having me.
And on that note, now that she's gone, oh my god, I fucking hate talking to her. Like she's so annoying. Like Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Oh my
god.
Okay. This is such a dumb bit.